Björn Borg was the Ice Borg, calm, untouchable, the king of Wimbledon. But Björn Borg has now revealed a past that no one expected, a hidden world of cocaine addiction, moments of crushing shame, and a present battle with cancer at its most advanced stage.
In the book, you describe how at times your life was a dangerous mix of drugs, pills, and alcohol.
Yes.
How bad did things get?
I had no plan. This was a huge problem. People today, for instance, they have guidance. I had nothing. I didn't know what to do. I was lost in the world. It was more drugs, it was pills, it was alcohol to escape. I think I escaped myself from reality in life because I didn't have to think about it. I mean, you're gone.
For decades, fans saw only the legend who lifted trophies with ice in his veins. Few knew about the nights that spiraled into overdoses, or the morning he opened his eyes in a hospital bed and saw his father watching in silence.
I wake up in the hospital. I had no idea what happened. And the doctor said, no, you were very close to be dead, right? You were very lucky to be alive, they said. And my father is standing right in front of me. I was so embarrassed because my father was there.
These are the confessions Borg kept hidden until now. And the deeper you go, the more shocking the story becomes. Because what came after his tennis glory was a downfall no one saw coming, in a fight for survival that isn't over yet. In the late 1970s, Björn Borg wasn't just winning, he was rewriting tennis history.
Hi, I'm Björn Borg. I won 5 times in a row from 1976 to 1980.
5 straight Wimbledon titles, 6 French Opens, 11 Grand Slams before his 26th birthday. Crowds watched in awe as he walked onto the court like a machine, expressionless, composed, unstoppable. And then it ended. In 1981, after losing back-to-back finals at Wimbledon and the US Open to John McEnroe, Borg stunned the world by walking away. At only 25, the sport's biggest star retired. Fans were shocked. Commentators were baffled. Why would a man at the peak of his powers abandon the stage he had ruled so completely? Borg later admitted the truth.
I stepped away from the game very early, but to lose, that was not part of my personality. The most beautiful thing is winning.
The fire was gone. The motivation, the hunger, burned out. But what no one realized at the time was that this sudden exit left a void, a silence even bigger than the one he carried on court. And into that silence, far darker habits began to creep. When the cheers stopped, so did the rhythm of his life. Imagine being 25, at the very top of your career, and then suddenly, nothing. No stadiums, no cameras, no reason to wake up with the same fire. That silence broke Borg in a way his opponents never could. In 1982, searching for something to fill the void, he tried cocaine for the first time.
It was more drugs, it was pills, it was alcohol to escape.
At first, it felt like a substitute for the adrenaline of tennis, the quick rush, the illusion of control. He later admitted it became his way of self-medication, a bandage over wounds no one else could see. But his personal life mirrored the chaos. His marriage to fellow tennis player Mariana Simionescu had already ended, and his second marriage to Italian pop star Loredana Berti was turbulent and short-lived. What looked glamorous on the outside was fractured behind closed doors, and those cracks only deepened the spiral. Soon, cocaine mixed with alcohol, pills, and regret. To the outside world, he was still Björn Borg, the Ice Borg, untouchable, but inside he was crumbling.
The first collapse came in 1989. Borg was in Italy when the mix of cocaine, alcohol, and pills finally caught up with him. His body gave out and he was rushed to the hospital. He survived, but the pattern didn't stop. Years later, in the Netherlands, it happened again. Before an exhibition match, he overdosed once more and ended up on a hospital bed. This time, when he opened his eyes, he saw his father standing there. No words, just silence. Borg says the shame of that moment cut deeper than any defeat he ever suffered on court.
And then we went back to Stockholm. We didn't say a word, but that was probably the most embarrassing thing in my life, to be with my father, who was my best friend.
And by then, the broken marriages, the headlines, the chaos, they all piled onto the shame. Borg wasn't just losing control of his health, he was losing the people closest to him. He later admitted those overdoses were his darkest moments, moments that could have ended everything. And in many ways they did, because after that, the Ice Borg everyone thought they knew was gone. But life wasn't finished testing him, because decades later, a new opponent appeared, one that made drugs look almost easy by comparison. Just when it seemed the chaos of his past was behind him, life struck again. In 2023, Borg sat in a doctor's office and heard words that no one is ever ready for: prostate cancer. Aggressive, advanced. He described the moment as crushing, not just physically, but mentally. The same calm champion who once scared down match points at Wimbledon now faced something far deadlier. The diagnosis wasn't mild. Doctors told him, this is really, really bad. In 2024, he went through surgery, and while the operation was a success, the relief didn't last. Borg was warned there were sleeping cancer cells inside him, cells that could stay quiet for years or return without warning.
I spoke to the doctor, and he said this is really, really bad. Okay, but it's done. And he said, but you have these sleeping cancer cells in your body.
For a man who once lived off the certainty of precision, knowing exactly where the ball would land, how each point could be controlled, this uncertainty was unbearable. Every 6 months, he now has to go back for checkups, never knowing what the results might bring. And that's the terrifying part. It's not just one fight. It's a fight that restarts every time he sits down in that hospital chair, waiting for the results that could change his future in a single word. Every 6 months, Borg sits in a hospital waiting room, knowing that a single test result could flip his world upside down. He admits it's a psychological battle, sometimes even harder than the surgeries or the treatments themselves. The uncertainty eats away at him, but he chooses to face it the only way he knows, day by day, year by year. And oddly enough, his past, the drugs, the overdoses, the shame, prepared him for this. Borg has said those darkest nights of addiction taught him what it means to fight from the bottom. Back then, he battled regret and self-destruction. Today, he battles his own body. The opponent has changed, but the survival instinct is the same. But this time, he isn't fighting alone. With his third wife, Patricia, by his side since 2002, and the support of his children and grandchildren, Borg says he's finally found stability. What once drove him into silence and drugs is now replaced by family, routine, and a determination to stay alive for them. In his memoir, Heartbeats, he lays everything bare: his cocaine use, the overdoses, the cancer. For Borg, speaking out is part of the healing. It's his way of saying, shame almost destroyed me once, but honesty might just save me now. Björn Borg will always be remembered as the Ice Borg, the man who dominated Wimbledon with nerves of steel. But his real legacy isn't just the trophies he finally chose to share. Behind the legend was a man who stumbled into addiction, who carried shame heavier than any championship loss, and who now fights cancer every day with the same focus he once brought to the court. He lost marriages, he lost control, he nearly lost his life, but he also found redemption in honesty and strength in the family that surrounds him today. His story reminds us that no one is invincible, not even the calmest champion. Addiction can touch anyone, illness can strike without warning, and silence only makes the battle harder. But honesty, resilience, and the courage to keep moving forward, that's what keeps a fighter alive long after the applause fades.